This is the Washington Arch in New York City. In this video, I'm going to show you some connections between this arch, Enochian Magic, the Bible, the movie Ghostbusters 2, and 9/11. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I have made much sense out of any of this, but this is obviously not some sort of a unusual coincidence. There's obviously something going on here with the stuff that I'm going to show you, but I don't know what it means. So I'm hoping that these videos that I'm doing on this, and just really all of my videos, really spur somebody else to do some serious research into this area that nobody else seems to be looking at. So with all that being said, let's take a look at this arch and arches in general and 9/11. Here's the Washington Arch as it appeared in the movie Ghostbusters 2. This is a screenshot. This is a screenshot of a spirit coming through the gate, coming through the arch. Now, if you want to know what the arch looked like in the daytime prior to 9/11, there are a lot of pictures showing that. It's a very famous scene if you're from New York, but here it is. Twin towers were perfectly framed under the arch. The alignment is actually quite precise. Now, it gets a little crazier than this. If you'll notice, there are statues of George Washington on the sides of this arch. Now, here's a more close-up picture of it, of course, showing the Twin Towers. Now, if you notice that there's a book above George Washington's head, here's what it says. It says, Exodus Acta Probat. All right? What does Exodus Acta Probat mean? Here's what it means. It means the outcome justifies the deed. All right, what outcome? What deed? This outcome, this deed. All right, this is very creepy. This really convinces me that there is something very odd going on in terms of the occult, some sort of magic, and arches in general. This is not the only arch pertaining to 9/11 where you see something really weird going on. And this is not the only thing pertaining to 9/11 and this arch. There are some other aspects of this arch that are also strange in terms of its alignment in relation to other buildings in the area and stuff. And that would be a subject for another video. But before we move on with any more stuff about arches in particular, it's important at this point to make sure you understand something about Enochian Magic. If you've already seen some of my other videos, you can maybe skip forward a little bit. If you don't have any idea what Enochian Magic is, here we go. This sleek-headed, funny-looking guy with a weird hat that you see on the left, along with his friend Edward Kelly around the year 1585, for some reason thought it would be a cool idea to contact some spirits on the other side through means of a crystal ball. And the spirits that they contacted gave them a bunch of rituals that were designed to literally bring about the end of the world. That is what we call Enochian Magic. The way that this actually takes place at Enochian Magic is there are a system of 49 gates and 49 keys. The keys are rituals. And there are 4 watchtowers of Enochian Magic, but the gates are the ones that are important for this video, because once the keys are used and the gates are opened, then the spirits come into this world through the gates. That is the occultic perspective of this, and that is essentially what I showed you in this video here, in that screenshot. The biblical perspective of this is found in Revelation 9, Genesis 6, and Peter and Jude. This is the key to the shaft of the bottomless pit that is opened. There's that key language again. And then you have the spirits being released. By the way, this is a very, very common theme in all of the occult Greek mythology. You have this concept of imprisoned spirits being released. That's what the whole Prometheus thing is about. I've been told that this kind of stuff is found in pretty large quantities in the Fox series Lucifer. It's a pretty common occultic theme, imprisoned spirits. The identity of these spirits would be the spirits that sinned in Genesis 6, and these are the ones that are also mentioned in 2nd and 1st Peter and in Jude, and they are the ones that get broken out of prison in Revelation 9. Now, that is the occultic perspective, or the biblical perspective on these two things. So that explains why you see a spirit coming through the arch in the Ghostbusters movie. This is a spirit that's been released from prison, and the arch is the gate, and he's coming through the gate. Now, this is not the only arch connected to 9/11 in some way. There are two others. One is a fairly tenuous connection, and I'm not really sure if there's anything to it or not. But the other one, I'm pretty sure that there is something to it, and that's the one I'm going to show you now. A lot of people are aware of the destruction of Herod's temple in 70 AD by the Emperor Titus, which is depicted on the Arch of Titus and this artwork on the arch that you see here on the right. A lot of people are aware of that. What most people are not aware of, though, is the significance of the holiday Tisha B'Av, the Jewish holiday where they commemorate not only the destruction of Herod's temple, but also Solomon's temple, which was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar. The reason why that is significant is that both temples were destroyed on the same calendar date of the Hebrew calendar, which is the 9th day of the 11th month, the month of Av. The 9th day of the 11th month on the Hebrew calendar. Both temples were destroyed. Now, look at this. The front of the fire station in the early part of Ghostbusters. Look at the graffiti on the station. Now, if you just kind of ignore that S on the bottom right there, what you're stuck with is XIIX, which is 11 and 9 in Roman numerals. Now, I think that that S probably stands for something else, like sex magic, for example. I think that there was definitely a sex magic element to 9/11, and mixed with some Enochian stuff. And that would be a subject for another video. That's what that whole I am the gatekeeper, I am the keymaster stuff is, with Sigourney Weaver dressed as the Scarlet Woman from the Babylon Working, and that kind of thing. But at any rate, that could be a reference to 9th degree and 11th degree sex magic, which if you want to go and read about that on your own, go ahead. But I think that this graffiti on the front of the fire station has got multiple meanings, and I think that this one that would be a reference to the Jewish day Tish B'Av, the destruction of both temples on the 9th day of the 11th month, I think is one valid way of interpreting this. Now, here's another aspect of this stuff with the arches and the temples and stuff. Solomon's temple, very famously, especially in Freemasonry, Solomon's temple, and just historically in the Bible, had two pillars named Jachin and Boaz. A lot of people have pointed out that the Twin Towers are Masonic representations of Jachin and Boaz, and that this was somehow some sort of a Masonic ritual. I think that that's probably right, that it was not only Masonic, but it was also Enochian. It was also had something to do with tarot, and it had something to do with Kabbalah. Now, the only one I know much of anything about is Enochian, but I do know this. Building 7 was the Solomon Brothers building, and I don't think that that's an accident. There's just way too many weird things that are coming together that make me think there's something to this idea that 9/11 and this whole Masonic Temple of Solomon kind of thing is somehow connected to what you see on the front of this fire station and what you see with Tisha B'Av, Solomon's temple, Herod's temple, the 11th day of the 9th day of the 11th month, and so on. This is just way too much stuff. So this is, in my opinion, this is not a coincidence. This means something, but I really don't know what it means. But I think that this is something that needs to be researched quite a bit more by other people. And if you do know what's going on here, please put something in the comments section. I'm not going to claim to really know what's going on with this, but I just wanted to point it out. And my purpose in making these videos really is not so much to educate people about what's going on as it is to raise awareness that there is something going on. And I'm hoping that other people can get involved with this with their talents, and maybe we can all figure out what's going on with this stuff. So let's look at the next one. Here's the one that I said was maybe a little tenuous. This is in Paris. You see an ancient Egyptian obelisk from Luxor, Egypt on the bottom. That's the one that's capped in gold. And you see the Arc de Triomphe that Napoleon built, which is up the road ahead. Now, an obelisk in ancient Egyptian terms is the male sexual phallic symbol, and the arch would be, you can probably figure it out. Now, here's what's interesting about this. If you look at the compass heading, going from the arch to the obelisk, the heading is 116 degrees. So that's 116 degrees. Now, remember that in the occult, they like to, when they show you things, they like to flip them around backwards. They like to invert them. Here's an example again that I've already shown you in another video, which is Neo's passport, which appears in the movie Matrix. When they show you the passport, it's upside down. All right. Also, showing things in mirror image is another way that they do things, and so on. But flipping something upside down is a pretty common thing occultically. So if we take 116, we flip it upside down, what we get is 9/11. And knowing that they like to play with numbers, they like to flip things upside down, and they are really concerned about things like compass headings. I think that there may be something to this, but what it would be, I really don't know. And I just don't know. Maybe there's something to it, maybe there's not. But, you know, it was a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago at least, that I first came across this, all the folding of the money and everything. And I always thought, yeah, this is just kind of dumb. You know, yeah, right. Yeah, this is silly. But then I came across all this arches stuff, and now I'm not so sure. You know, when you look at all this money folding and the towers going down with the folded bills and everything, when you look at that within the context of all of this other stuff about arches, it kind of makes you wonder. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up, and have a great day. Bye-bye.